Hey guys, it's Jeb here, and in today's video, Bitcoin has finally broken bullish and is currently trading around $10,500. In today's video, we're going to be discussing whether or not Bitcoin has actually managed to set a bottom in and whether we're going to continue moving to the upside, and if Bitcoin does have the strength to continue moving all the way up to $14,000. We're also going to be talking about Bakkt because, as you guys know, Bakkt was announced nearly a year ago and is finally seeming like it's going to be launching. We're going to be discussing this a little bit later on in the video as well. One thing I also want to cover is that Bitcoin searches have actually surpassed stocks as economic skies darken. In fact, both of these stories are ones that I wanted to cover in yesterday's video, but they got put off because I wanted to focus on the Federal Reserve interest rates being lowered yesterday. As you can see here, guys, over the last several months, Bitcoin has surpassed by quite a large margin the keyword stocks. That's a big deal. People use Google Trends all the time in the field of cryptocurrency and in the field of stock trading, so we're going to be discussing the importance of that later. I also very briefly want to mention that the Litecoin halving is coming within the next week or so. We're going to be doing a dedicated video on this tomorrow. But anyway, guys, before we dive on into it, I do want to remind you that we are still running that sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. There's a $40 off coupon code in the description down below. So without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. I want to catch you guys up with what's gone on here over the last few days. As you can see, Bitcoin did actually set a bottom back over here that a lot of people thought was the bottom of this downtrend. Unfortunately, it was not because we set a lower high. From there, Bitcoin set another low, which was lower than the previous low. But now that we've set this low in motion over here, we can see that this is actually an equivalent or even a slightly higher low. That's much more bullish than a lower low. That was an early warning sign that we may be seeing some kind of trend reversal. The fact that Bitcoin did not set a lower low again and we didn't come down here to these price targets that we were talking about, the fact that Bitcoin didn't do that is actually rather bullish for Bitcoin. As we can see, Bitcoin's been moving to the upside here over the last several days, even breaking bullish out of a consolidation pattern in yesterday's video. You guys know that I talk about consolidation patterns a lot because something like this would have been relatively easy to trade if you had have caught it. It did happen kind of late at night, so you may not have seen it, but if you see something like this, you can pretty easily trade this with leverage. But continuing on here, guys, I've been talking about for a long time about how I'm not going to trust Bitcoin until I see some confirmations of bullishness. Well, guys, we've actually seen quite a few confirmations of bullishness, so I want to run through those in today's video. One of them would have to do with the daily MACD. As you can see, we have finally crossed bullish. Bitcoin does now have a bullish cross on the MACD. That is the second of three confirmations that I like to look for on the MACD. The first thing is, of course, we want to see a trend reversal, a change in direction of the histogram. We also want to see the cross, and then from there we want to see about 3 to 4 days of bullishness on the MACD to make sure it's not just going to cross bearish immediately again, something like what happened over here. So right now the MACD is looking pretty bullish. Another thing that's looking pretty bullish would actually be the RSI. As we can see here, guys, for the majority of the last couple of weeks, Bitcoin has been trading below the 50 level. I have my cursor set up exactly here on the midline on the RSI, and for the most part, RSI has been trading below this level. Now Bitcoin's actually trading its RSI above that level. That's a very important sign. To see an uptrend, you want several different indicators. You want the RSI above 60, really. You also want the MACD to be bullish, and you want a few other things to happen as well. One of the things that you want to happen is you want, guess what, for the chart to be above the 20 exponential moving average. As you can see over here, guys, Bitcoin did actually get above the 20 EMA the day before yesterday. As you can see, guys, Bitcoin did actually get above the 20 exponential moving average yesterday. That's a very bullish sign because we actually rejected off of it just over here. But wait, guys, Billy Mays here, because that's not all. There is more that we need to look at on the 20 exponential moving average, because down here on the hourly chart, as you can see, Bitcoin has been riding the 20 exponential moving average as a level of support. Bitcoin has been using this as an uptrend. That's a very bullish sign. A lot of times you see that happen at the start of a new rally, at the start of a new uptrend. I'm very happy to see this, and this does look like it's forming into a new rally. Now, guys, there are some things that could go wrong here. There are ways that Bitcoin could fall over. Bitcoin is going to face a lot of resistance at several different levels. One of them is going to be right up here on this downtrend of resistance. Busting out the VPVR, some more resistance that it's going to find is literally right above where it is right now. As you can see, there's been a ton of trading in this zone over here. Bitcoin is going to face a lot of resistance here and all the way up until about $12,000. But if Bitcoin can get up here above 12K and start moving even farther, $14,000, the path is clear, and Bitcoin will probably be going back up here and beyond, and the rally should continue in the way that it typically does during bull markets. So, guys, is our downtrend over? Not necessarily, but I do think that we have a lot of hope that we may be seeing the end of this. Bitcoin has set a bottom in motion, and Bitcoin has set a new uptrend in motion in a way that it hasn't done in a while. As you can see over here, guys, Bitcoin was using the 20 EMA as support. Then we started using it as resistance. That's a very bad sign. Now we're back up above it. That's a good sign. We went from bad, we went from somewhat good to bad to somewhat good again. That's a good trend reversal. We kind of saw this bottom where we were bullish, bearish, and now we're going bullish again. There are, of course, going to be hiccups along the way, and Bitcoin might not be done with this uptrend. This could be a false rally. I want to give this a few more days to flesh out and to really start confirming itself that we are in an uptrend. I want to see Bitcoin above $11,000 before I start saying anything definitive. But right now, this does look like the beginning of a new uptrend, and I would be looking for long positions. I know I personally am. Anyway, guys, that's most of what we wanted to cover here on the technical analysis portion of today's video, so let's go ahead and dive on into some news. The first story I want to cover has to do with Bakkt. We're going to plow through these pretty quickly because they're not very long stories, but as we can see here, ICE's CEO says that Bakkt will launch Bitcoin futures in the very near future. Bitcoin futures platform Bakkt is gearing up to launch soon, which we've heard probably about 12.5 times. The head of its parent firm said Thursday, although he did not set a firm timeline. Yeah, something that ICE has been doing lately is that they don't put deadlines on when the product Bakkt is going to launch anymore because they've had to extend those deadlines so many times. They keep getting put off because of CFTC approval, yada yada yada. Not really here nor there. The point is that Bakkt does seem like it's going to be launching relatively soon. This is some stuff that you may not be familiar with, so I will go ahead and read this. Bakkt initially intended to have the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, which oversees derivative products in the United States, approve its futures contract, but ultimately self-certified. Essentially what that means is you can put in a kind of application sort of thing. That's not exactly what it is, and then if they don't respond to it in a certain amount of time, then you are automatically certified. That's how Bakkt got the CFTC approval, because the CFTC was dragging its feet. That's the CFTC not approving Bakkt was the main reason why this has taken so long. And this is important, guys, because this is the last thing Bakkt is waiting on. The company is now waiting on a trust charter from the New York Department of Financial Services. Once NYDFS approves Bakkt's warehouse, the company will be able to launch its new product. One thing the article does also point out is what is something I've been talking about for a while now. TD Ameritrade's backed ErisX. That's something that they've been planning for quite some time. If you go on their website and look at their cryptocurrency section, then you will see them talking about ErisX. That's something that will probably be launching sometime this year or next year. And LedgerX is also working on something. Point is here, guys, Bakkt has been announced for a very long time. I remember back over here when it was announced, right over here. Actually, if I remember correctly, I can look on the chart. I can remember the exact day that this happened. I believe it was on this day right here. It was on this day right here. It was August, I want to say it was August 3rd that Bakkt was announced, because I remember it was one of the biggest announcements of 2018, and we still had a red day. This was a very, very bearish time for Bitcoin. And nearly a year later, we're finally going to have Bakkt launching, hopefully before the end of the year, guys. Bakkt is going to be a gigantic, and yes, I do mean absolutely massive platform that is going to bring a lot of institutional and retail investors into the cryptocurrency markets. This is going to be huge. Not only Bakkt is launching, we also have a couple of other futures platforms launching, and we also have several other institutional platforms into the space. Guys, this is a big deal. I am looking very much forward to seeing Bakkt launch, and we'll keep you guys up to date on that as more news comes out. One more thing that we want to look at: Bitcoin searches surpass stocks as economic skies darken. For the first time since late 2017, Bitcoin searches on Google have surpassed those of stocks, and we can see that here if we come onto Google Trends. If you type in Bitcoin and stocks, you will see that here over the last couple of months, Bitcoin is far more popular than the keyword stocks. And if we go here to the last 5 years, something that is also interesting is that Bitcoin is not even close to its all-time high here, guys. As you can see, if you thought that the Bitcoin bull market is over and Bitcoin's going to crash again, Google Trends would disagree with you, because as we can see here, Bitcoin had a lot of interest here at the end of 2017 when Bitcoin ran up to $20,000. It also ran up to its 100% mark here on Google Trends. The reason that Google Trends is so important, guys, you see people talk about Google Trends all the time. I've mentioned it many times here on the channel. The reason that Google Trends is so very important is because it tracks interest. And what more do you need to know than interest in markets? What more do you need to know than where people have their interest? If people are interested in Bitcoin, money is going to flow into Bitcoin. If people are interested in stocks, in money are going to flow into stocks. We want the interest in Bitcoin to be rising and to surpass stocks. That's exactly what has happened, and I'm very excited to see that. This could have to do with a lot of factors. I mean, obviously the main one is that Bitcoin has entered a new bull market, but we also have things like Bakkt going on. We have things like the Litecoin halving, which, like I said, we're going to discuss this article and the Litecoin halving dedicated in tomorrow's video, because that's a big topic. But we also have things like a lot of countries starting to get more on board with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We also have a lot more regulatory certainty in the United States as laws start to become more and more transparent and understandable. We in general have more adoption going on, guys. Bitcoin and the fire that is fueling this locomotive keeps getting hotter, and I am very much looking forward to what the future brings for Bitcoin. Anyway, guys, I do hope you did enjoy today's video. If you did, you can support the channel by smashing that like button. You can also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you guys are new here, I wouldn't want you to miss any of the videos, and you'll be notified every single time a new video goes out. And also, if you want to support the channel while also learning how to trade cryptocurrency so that you can profit in these markets, I highly recommend the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Guys, there is a lot of content in here covering the very basics all the way up through far more advanced concepts. If you want to learn how to trade this market, CT2A is the place to learn to do it. Full stop. There's no better place to do it. I'll be completely blunt with you. We have the most inexpensive program with the most content on the entire market. There's not another course that has more content for for less investment. These markets can be daunting. These markets are very confusing, especially if you are newer to these markets. If you don't know what you're doing, you can invest a lot of money, lose that money in your trading, and more importantly, lose your passion for cryptocurrency because you got burnt one too many times. You don't want that to happen because you're going to be missing out on one of the biggest opportunities of your lifetime. It's very important that if you are new to the markets and if you are actually planning on working in these markets, that you understand how these markets work. So if you're interested in learning about how to do cryptocurrency technical analysis, I do highly recommend CT2A. The link is in the description down below, as well as a $40 off coupon code. Come on in and join us, guys. I would love to see your pretty face in the course. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I do hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and I also want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.